restaurateur named Juvencio Maldonado. Great name. And he actually won the patent out of New York City in 1947. But Glenn Bell also created his own version, it seems like, independently.
Yeah, and the reason why everybody was having this kind of same idea at the same time is because part of like the zeitgeist of the time as far as food went was the idea that fast food was awesome.
Yeah.
And creating food quickly and efficiently was thrilling. Because prior to this, if you made tacos, you made the tacos as
cool.
as ordered, to order, and you took these uncooked flour tortillas and then you fried them up and made tacos that way. And this was like, no, and just imagine if you had the shells already ready, it would save so
Right.
much time and knock these Bobby Sockers socks off.
Right. And if you happen to break the shells, it's a nacho.
Exactly. That's what my T-shirt said.
So in 1948, Glenn Bell has opened a hot dog and hamburger stand in San Bernardino in San Bernardino, California, across from the original McDonald's, if you remember that episode, which is pretty fun. It started out as a barbecue restaurant. And he was doing okay. He wasn't doing that great, but he noticed across the street there was a Mexican restaurant called, I guess it's the Mitla Cafe, M-I-T-L-A, that had been open since 1937 by the Rodriguez family. And it was not a taco stand. It was like a full sit-down, full-service restaurant, open breakfast, lunch, and dinner that was killing it. And he was like, I got to get me some of that.
Yes, and we've reached the point where I want to point out that Dave Ruse is a born food writer, because the reason both of us wanted tacos so bad is in large part
Crumble and
Dave's
Bad Daddies.
really
3
great
items,
descriptive
5
writing.
miles, 12
But
bucks.
he talked about how, like the
Yeah.
Meatloaf Cafe, it wasn't a taco joint, but they had killer
Houses
tacos,
are
and they
right
had
next to each other.
something called Tacos
Right,
Dorados,
crumble
which was a
already,
golden
so
fried
it's gonna
taco.
pass.
And he said that at night, young people would show up at the Meatloaf Cafe craving a quick bite, and the bestseller was a freshly fried bag of Tacos Dorados, golden fried tacos.
Catherine's dog, you know, man.
That is good food writing. It makes me hungry.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And these are essentially taquitos, right?
Yeah, they would take a corn tortilla, put ground beef in it, roll it up, put a toothpick in it to hold it together, and then fry that. And then they would put the cheese and the lettuce and the tomatoes on the outside. And I shouldn't say would, because Meatloaf Cafe is still there, and they still serve Tacos Dorados.
Yeah,
Brady
it's
is
taquitos. I
fine.
love it. Sometimes I'll get
That's
taquitos.
good.
Sure. Yeah, if you stop at a racetrack or something,
No.
or the quick trip.
Yeah. You ever seen those, like, they look like a taquito and a hot dog, like, made love or something. I'm not even sure what it is.
No, let's look it up. I forgot that.
No, I like taquitos in a place, or flautas is another name. I'm a big fan of the chimichanga, which is different. That's like
Yeah.
a deep fried burrito, but
That's
Yeah,
an
you put-
American invention.
yeah, put anything in a fryer basket and I'm all over it.
Dude, I'm with you. But also that sauce that's peculiar to the chimichanga is so good.
It is.
Oh, man. And plus it's just fun to say when you order it.
Yeah, I haven't found a great one here in Atlanta near me because all the places near me are a little more authentic and they don't have them.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, yeah.
There are places near me, but I just don't go there.
Right. But yeah, if it's authentic, they're probably not going to have a chimichanga. That's an American Mexican food, or it's a Mexican place that's catering to Americans.
Right, exactly.
So the reason that we're bringing up the Meatloaf Cafe is because this is where Glenn Bell learned to fry up tacos, to make tacos. And it's not entirely fair to say that he stole the idea from the Rodriguez family, who were running the Meatloaf Cafe and came up with the Tacos Dorados, because Glenn Bell, became a regular customer there. But he was there not just to enjoy the food, but to kind of like spy on them and watch
Yeah.
the process and figure out how to do it. And there's a guy named Gustavo Arellano. He wrote Taco USA, How Mexican Food Conquered America. And he's the guy who seems to be the one who really turned up the story about how the Meatloaf Cafe was the basis of Taco Bell originally. In that, when the Rodriguez family figured out that Glenn Bell wanted to learn how to make tacos Dorados and was kind of surreptitiously learning by spying, they invited him into the kitchen to teach him how to do it.
Wow.
They just showed him how to do it.
See? What a great culture.
So, exactly. So, Glenn Bell went off and he basically he went from making hamburgers and hot dogs to making tacos based on the Tacos Dorados thing. But he was also combining it with inspiration from the McDonald's brothers across the
Yeah.
street who had gotten into really efficient fast food. So he's trying to figure out how to make Tacos Dorados as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, this is where he comes up with his 1951 frying contraption. And we should point out when it was a very sort of Americanized version of the taquito. He actually topped his with chili dog sauce from his hot dog days.
I'm not going to hate on that.
I bet it's delicious.
Sure.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But he was looking to open up his first taco restaurant in '51, and he did so. And a consultant was helping out with the naming. And they said, "What about La Tapatia?"
Sure.
Which is a nickname for a woman from Guadalajara, and he said, "Yeah, La Tapatia is great, but how about just Taco Tia?" And they said,
I
"That
like
makes
that one."
Taco Ant. That makes no sense." Yeah,
No.
that's fine.
Sure. What's an ant who loves tacos? It makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, an aunt rather, not a insect.
Right.
To be clear.
So he had Taco Tia, and then he went on. He's like, I really like this taco thing. I'm going to start another chain with a couple of Rams football players. They created
Yeah.
El Taco, and that
Yeah.
went well for
Imagine
4
it's the
years.
whole,
And he
like,
sold out his
business.
portion of that.
Oh, yeah.
Then he finally created the first
Can't
Taco
use
Bell
dog
in
grooming.
1962 in
What?
Downey, California, right?
1962, diarrhea is born.
For Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell. We've talked about it before. I'd never ever have it, but I had it once about 4 or 5 months ago for the first time in a couple of years, and it was so good. And I had diarrhea.
You want a big
Oh
dice?
yeah, well that's why you associate that with that, huh?
It was worth it though.
So the first one they call it Taco
Yeah,
Bell
you
Numero
might leave
Uno,
in there.
the one in Downey,
They got
California
some,
that opened in 1962. It
sugar
is one of the most
cookies
adorable
with the
buildings
vanilla icing.
you'll ever see in your life.
They
The
look
sign
so
is
good.
awesome. The front, the overhang is awesome. It's in a Mission Revival style. And actually, Glenn Bell envisioned it as kind of like a community center. So like he had
Wow,
fire
sweet.
pits. There was like
Been in
mariachi
there.
music and dancing. It was
Crumble?
way more
Crumble,
than
yeah.
it should have been as just
Yeah.
a
Good, though.
taco joint,
Oh,
a
God,
fast
yeah.
food taco joint. And
Best
it took off
cookies
really
ever.
quickly. Within 5
Reason
years,
people pay so much
he
for
had
them.
100
You don't deliver.
stores open.
Yeah, and they still, even in the 80s and 70s, used the similar signage. Like when I saw Taco Bell Numero Uno, and that's what they call it, by the way. We're not just trying to be cute.
No, not a,
I recognize. Never. I recognized that sign immediately. I was like, oh yeah, I remember
Oh
that
yeah,
from
you
when
know
I
how I
was a
asked
kid.
about Dying Light 2
And they did
yesterday?
have sort
Yeah.
of, and they still sort of have that mission.
take that back
You know,
for a
that
little
sort of
while.
stucco
Yeah.
look
There's
to the
another
restaurant.
game.
until
like
the
just
90s.
came out.
I ran across an Architectural
It's a
Digest
VR
blog. It
game.
said we legit want
It's
our
like
apartments
a
to look
VR
like 90s
MMO.
Taco Bell.
Yeah. It looks
There's a lot of like
interesting.
weird
Yeah.
Memphis
It's
style
$30
mixed in.
half the
Wow.
price.
But it was.
There you go.
I remember when it transitioned
That
from the
helps.
old.
Oh, they don't have those
style.
now?
No, not really. It's
I
way
spent
more
$30
slick.
on
Okay,
Applebee's.
I haven't really noticed.
Oh, I know.
There was a
Told
big
you about that.
transition.
You did.
There's actually been a couple since that one where they
Only
went
part
from
of
the
that
one
was
where we were
delivery.
kids to the 90s
Yeah.
version.
When it's
And it was a
supposed to get
sad
there.
day. I remember
didn't
being
say.
like, something's been
Oh.
lost here. I don't like this new stuff.
It's a scam.
Yeah,
It looks like Zach Morris took over and redesigned the whole thing.
Legit.
well, that's just because the big
Yeah, their
mural was screeching
website,
inside.
but-
Right. All right.
Uh,
Oh, them peach
Screech
trees.
in a sombrero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he died, didn't he?
He did, very
Five-pound bag.
sad.
Gum
Lung
and
cancer, even though he didn't smoke.
Why'd I go this
Jesus,
way?
that's terrible. I remember Del Taco too.
I
That
should've
was the
went
other big
straight
one
and then-
growing up, and that went out of
Yeah, he
business
didn't say.
eventually. But Del Taco and Taco
He
Bell
didn't
were
say
the
that.
two biggies.
Taco Bell or Del Taco's still around?
Is it?
Oh yeah,
they all
I,
shut down now.
I had another Del Taco by my house,
Mine was
not very
room.
far away from it, and it's I had not had it until ever
Wow.
until maybe 2019, 2020.
I think they've slimmed though. I don't see those much anymore. They
That
seem to
didn't
be
cost
like
us
a
much.
legit
now.
rival to Taco Bell, but Taco Bell squashed them with the tortilla press
Yeah, because
in a
there's
big
like,
way.
just in the U.S. alone, there's 7,000 Taco Bell locations.
That is a lot, and they're all over the world except Mexico.
Yeah, they tried in 1992 and 2007 to open up Taco Bells in Mexico City, and they did, and
That's
they
an
just did
insult.
not go very far. But they're and I think in 2015 there was a campaign to save Taco Bell Numero Uno because they were going to demolish it. There was actually a KFC/Taco Bell across the street from it, and that lot where Taco Bell Numero Uno was being redeveloped.
Casey?
and there was a campaign to save it, and they moved it. In 2015, they moved it, I think, 45 miles from Downey to Irvine, where Taco Bell's headquarters is. And
Yeah, there's a lot of stories on this online, but I would recommend you go to Pee Wee Herman's website, peewee.com.
Yeah.
There's a really, I found the best article was there,
Yeah.
because it has all kinds of pictures of the restaurant now wrapped up in the parking lot of the headquarters, and then there's a video, there's pictures of it going down the freeway on a truck with, the extra wide load with a police escort, and like there were 20 or 30 cars of like people that like took the 2-hour journey honking their horns and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of a fun story. They sadly haven't found a place for it still, because I saw follow-up last year. They're still looking for a permanent home for it, though.
Yeah, apparently it's still just, like you said, wrapped up in the parking lot in
Yeah.
a tarp on the trailer still, just kind of off in the corner of the parking lot, which is hopefully not the end of the place, I guess.
And big shout out to the conservation group, We Are the Next, because they're who headed up that whole plan
Sure.
to save a building that a lot of people would say is not historically significant.
Sure. You should have sent me that Pee Wee Herman link. I would have liked to have seen that. I love that guy.
No, you didn't see it?
No.
I mean, it had all the same stuff. It just had a couple of cool pictures.
Gotcha. You got anything else?
I got nothing else.
Okay, well, if you want to know more about tacos, go eat some tacos. Find some authentic ones and see what you think. And since I said see what you think, it's time for listener mail.
Well, before listener mail, I did promise to shout out my favorite taco places. So, can we do that?
Yeah, let's, man.
And you feel free as well. In San Francisco, Taco Bar,
Okay.
right there in sort of Lower Haight. I'm sorry, not Lower Haight, Lower Pacific Heights. Los Angeles, Yuccas in Los Feliz was one of my favorites.
Okay.
Senior Fish in Eagle Rock. And then there was one called Seven Mares in Silver Lake that I think closed down but is now opened up as Playita. It was very seafood
You might
focused.
thinking you're going
Mares
to
like
give it
mares
to
of a town or
What's
mares
that?
like horses?
Like horses.
I got you.
Yeah.
I think it was El Siete Mares was how you would really
Oh,
say
that's
it.
very pretty.
Seven
See,
Mares.
you wouldn't know that if it weren't for multiculturalism.
They had really good ceviche, really good seafood. And then here
That
in
was a pretty
Atlanta,
easy
El
pickup.
Tesoro in Kirkwood, Mescalitos in Oakhurst. Any place on Buford Highway,
Sure.
you're going to get good, authentic Mexican food and tacos. So those are my shout-outs.
Who you delivering to first?
Do you have any?
Group
No,
chat.
I don't. I need to get out to more taco places, apparently. Shout out to the
Salmon Drive.
food truck whose name I did not get in between Seattle and Portland.
You only 5 miles away?
Yeah, Slater Kinney Tacos is what it's called.
That's right.
All right,
All
so
right.
listener mail.
Listener mail.
I'm just going to call this nice email
Yeah, chance.
from a nice human.
Okay.
Hey guys, wanted to share with how your show is helpful and enjoyable to me and how I use my experience to help a friend. My friend started new medication and messaged me expressing insomnia troubles that came on as a result. I empathize and explain how I actually use stuff you should know to help me fall asleep when my mind is running 100 miles an hour. Put on an older episode with a sleep timer and let my brain focus on the topic of discussion. Also find your voices really calming, probably because I'm so familiar with hearing them
Take the next right onto West Wendover Avenue West.
almost every day for the past few years. Of course, I suggested speaking to her doctor or two, but I encouraged her to look into your podcast, even just for the general curiosity and enjoyment. Since my husband and I moved overseas for his military obligation,
Continue on West Wendover Avenue West for 3 miles.
I find your show even more important in my life, because I feel connected to the routines and the life I was used to living before we moved. Thanks for all the hard work you put into each episode.
Oh yeah, we're going to
Content and
eat big.
enthusiasm truly bring a joy and brightness to this world. I'm extremely grateful. Hope you have a wonderful new year of 2022. I look forward to continuing listening for as long as you're willing to make episodes. That is from Katie Fretanali.
Very nice. Thanks a lot, Katie. I remember, I probably said this before a million times. I used to take, not offense, but I used to be like, what exactly does that mean when people said that they use this to fall asleep? And then I was like, no, that is a high honor that you can put people to sleep, you know?
Yeah, you're in bed with somebody and you're soothing them.
Yeah, especially if they have trouble sleeping, like to a clinical degree, and you can help them. That is, I mean, I'm gonna have that put on my tombstone.
Should.
Could
Help
put
people
people to sleep. And now he's sleeping, the big sleep.
It's a little birdie.
Yeah.
Pork chop.
All right. Well, if you want to be like
Katie.
Oh, sorry, Katie. If you want to be like Katie and send us a great email like Katie did, you can send it to us at stuffpodcast@iheartradio.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you love to be remembered as the person who gives the best birthday gifts, I'm here to tell you that 1-800-Flowers.com is your ultimate birthday gifting destination. 1-800-Flowers has thoughtful and artfully created options that are guaranteed to deliver the best birthday surprise. Shop thousands of unique gifts at 1-800-Flowers.com for exclusive offers and great value. To order today, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/tune-in.
Thursday, February 10th, kick off Super Bowl 56 weekend with host Keegan-Michael Key. Find out who will be named the AP Most Valuable Player, delivered by Pizza Hut. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, presented by Nationwide, and more. Plus, the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2022, delivered with Uber Eats, will be revealed. NFL Honors, presented by Invisalign. Thursday, February 10th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on ABC, NFL Network, and ESPN+. All times live except in the Pacific Time Zone.
The Gangster Chronicles podcast is a weekly conversation that revolves around the underworld. From criminals and entertainers to victims of crime and law enforcement, we cover all facets of the game. Gangster Chronicles podcast doesn't glorify or promote illicit activities. We just discuss the ramifications and repercussions of these activities. Because after all, if you play gangster games, you are ultimately rewarded with gangster prizes. iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, but don't take our word for it. Find the Gangster Chronicles podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
So lame, so fast.
I feel like well, Matt Frederick's too busy these days, but we can't have Matt anymore in here because all Matt would do is sit there and like nod his head like, yeah.
Either that or his hands would be clasped together with this look of sheer joy on his face just to hear us talk. It was great. It made recording that much better.
Nowadays, Matt's older and more cynical now. He doesn't care anymore about us.
Right. Yeah.
He's been
True.
released into the forest like a baby sloth.
Right. Which is good. That's what you want to do with either Matt Frederick or a baby sloth. You don't want to keep them in captivity because sloths don't do very well in captivity. Matt does okay in captivity. He's fine. But a sloth, not nearly as well as what Matt Frederick can do in captivity.
Yeah, and you were watching just before we recorded. Everyone should know Josh was watching the 28 million
In a quarter mile, use the second from the left lane to turn left onto Penny Road.
in view YouTube video of Kristen Bell. Can we call her friend of the show?
Sure. I mean, she's probably not going to write in to object to it, so yeah, we could call her that.
She's
Use the second from the left lane to turn left onto Penny Road.
If you should know listener, or has been over the years, as is her husband, Mr. Dax Shepard, who was also a Movie Crush guest.
And he has his own podcast too, Armchair Expert.
Yeah, he's crushing it right out of the gate.
Sure.
Those are good podcasts, actually. I don't know if you listen to those. They're good.
Yes.
So she very famously, he brought her a sloth on her birthday, and she went on Ellen, and they showed video, and it's still just one of the great videos you can ever watch.
It is. It's very sweet. She's like having a meltdown, and
Fully melting down.
yeah, like crying, like sobbing.
Oh yeah.
Because she's so excited that there's a sloth in her house. Because
In 1,000 feet, turn right after O'Reilly Auto Parts on the right onto Samet Drive.
this is something she's wanted to meet a sloth like for her whole life, and now she gets to.
Yeah, and I
Turn right after O'Reilly Auto Parts on the right onto Samet Drive.
Here? No. Yeah.
watched it again today too because after doing this research, I was like, wait a minute, was she holding a sloth? Because that's not good. And
Continue on Samet Drive for half a mile.
it showed a picture, and she's not. The sloth is on its little perch, and she's very respectfully next to the sloth, exactly how it should be.
If there's any reason that kept Kristen Bell from being America's sweetheart, which I can't think of one, that erased it right there.
Yeah.
Just knowing how to be around a sloth when
In a quarter mile, turn left.
you have meltdowns at the idea of being around a sloth, that's some serious self-control. for the benefit of the animal. That's great stuff.
Yeah, not touching the animal and literally offering for me to change my daughter's diaper in her restaurant booth.
Yeah.
Turn left, then your destination will be on the left.
Yeah, that's right.
Because she said the bathroom was dirty.
She's a class act.
Class act.
So, Charles, you mentioned elephants. We did an elephant episode, and it's similar to the whole sloth thing. Like, you see a sloth, especially if you see a sloth in captivity at a zoo or something like that, you're like,
Your destination is on the left.
Yep. 625 for this one. I mean, it's above 625.
You have to be out both more. That's where
It's
it
true.
starts. Hiding tips. You get a lot of hiding $6 tips yesterday. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Cookies are on the bottom. Oh, can you lift up the thank you, boom. Alright, I'm marking it as complete. Yep, that's your dollar.
She said, uh-oh, donuts.
Head northeast towards Samet Drive.
You correct her?
No. I'll let her be excited for donuts.
I mean, I would say that those are better than donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get out this way here.
Maybe. Let's see.
Take the next left onto Samet Drive, then turn left onto Hickswood Road. Take the next left onto Hickswood Road, then turn left onto Hickswood Creek Drive.
Yeah, how much are we get for that one?
The extra dollar is $7.25.
Oh, nice.
Take the next left onto Hickswood Creek Drive, then your destination will be on the right.
What's the number?
3838.
There's no... All these are individually numbered. You can check that right here. 30, 18, 20, 24, 70s. Where does it say?
Your destination is on the
It's-
right.
It's right up here. Right. 38, 39. Oh, okay. It doesn't need one of those. Maybe that should be this first one here.
The customer requested you leave the order at their door. They added the following instructions.
30,
Leave at my
32,
door.
36, only.
That was close.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first one, but it was. Down that stretch.